Right, Luke, we're on, I think. Can you hear
Cool,
me all right?
cool. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, can
Yeah,
you hear me?
yeah, sweet, mate. All good, all good. Cool. Look, mate, awesome to join you again. I know, like, you and I have had a good chat before, and obviously we chatted since the record, and obviously loads of time in the lead up to it. But yeah, obviously, massive congratulations on what you did, mate. Real proud of what you did, and as I know, lots of people are. So, obviously, today is a great opportunity for you to kind of share your journey, hopefully inspire a few other people to have a go at something that they deem pretty challenging. And yeah, but mate, first of all, maybe you could just give us like a bit of an insight into how young Luke maybe got into shearing, or how you've sort of give us a bit of an insight into your journey so far.
Yeah, so I started shearing over in WA, MJ and Nola, Terry. I found myself at a bit of a loose end. I was up in Perth planting trees, and they offered me a job pressing. And I thought, why not? Went down there and started pressing for MJ and Nola, and they offered me a chance to go to a shearing school at Rollington Park down in Boyup Brook. That's where I met Pope Hick. He was one of the instructors down there, and I think it was a 4-day course. I think Pope might have had a word to MJ and said, "Oh, you want to chuck this boy on a stand? He's pretty keen." So not long afterwards, I think in the summer, probably a month later, MJ gave me a stand, and yeah, that's where it started.
Cool, cool. Yeah, so I mean, everyone needs that little helping hand, don't they? So, in terms of your kind of like, if we go back a year, then a year before your record, give us because I know I know about this, but just give us a little insight into what happened there.
So a year ago, I was shearing away for Rob Christinelli, and
Hey, Luke, just
he
move
came up
your
to me.
microphone a little bit, mate. It's a little bit for whatever reason. Every now and again, when you move, we kind of lose you a little bit.
How's that? Can you hear that?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was shearing away, and Rob Christinelli comes up to me and says, "I've picked up a new shed. I reckon I'll shed 400 there." And so he said, "Do you want to have a crack?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" Um, so we got together a few people, Pope, MJ, my brother-in-law Patrick McCarthy, and Rob Christinelli. We went out there and got it all prepared and sort of cracked inside, and ended up sharing 430 odd sheep for the day. And I guess that's where it all started. We sort of thought what could be from there. So
Nice.
yeah,
Did that, obviously the number is one thing. Like at that point in time, did you think, right, now I'm gonna do it, or did it kind of happen a little bit long? Like at what point did you go, oh, actually, yeah, this is something I think I can achieve?
yeah, I was in the back of my mind. Um, Obviously, I was a long way away at that time, and um, it sort of went all quiet afterwards. Like I was thinking about it, but then I sort of dropped the idea. And one day, I got a phone call from Pope, and he goes, "Oh, are you going to have a crack at the record?" This is in about November. I said, "Oh, I haven't really thought about it." And he sort of pushed me along and said, "Oh, I think you should." So obviously, I talked to Rob Christinelli and MJ, and we sort of got a team together. And yeah, so November it all started, and it all happened pretty quickly.
Mm. Yeah. So obviously, not everyone is necessarily aware of some of the finer detail that goes on in a record preparation, but obviously we'll cover what you and I both know in terms of nutrition and training in a bit. But like outside of that, obviously the build up to it, in terms of the preparation, a few of the things that maybe you just want to share a little insight into for those who perhaps have never been involved in a record, um, but probably understand something about shearing.
Yeah, so when we decided we would have a go, we had to move pretty fast because we had to get the crutching in. Crutch because you got to crutch obviously 4 months prior to the date, and we wanted to share around mid-April, so we only had a few weeks sort of organise, make sure Dougal was okay with um, having the attempt out at his property, which he was. He was great. He was all up for it. Yeah, we had to quickly get the sheep in, draft them into a good line of ewes, and do a crutch on them. And yeah, that's when I started training with you, Matt. And yeah,
Yeah, that's good. In terms of like the shed itself, was it kind of ready to go, or did you have to do a fair bit of prep on that, like getting it organised?
we didn't have to do it. Look, the shed was there. It was okay, but we had to sort of build a like we had to do a few adjustments to the shed. Yeah, new pen, sort of newish porthole, and but look, we didn't have to do a hell of a lot. But that all sort of happened closer to the date, the week before. Everyone got in there and started knocking a few walls out and putting in a makeshift pen and doing the porthole, and yeah.
Yeah, good, good. So, like you say, the nuts and bolts were there, but like a few of the finer details, which I think, yeah, like you say,
Yeah, yeah,
cool. So, yeah, we get to that conversation. I suppose probably the day that you messaged me and said, yeah, could I help? Obviously, you gave me the narrowest of windows I would have liked.
yeah, yeah.
A bit narrower than I would have liked. Because I do remember vividly when you said, just took me 2 seconds. Right. The two dogs have been quiet all morning, and then when I go on my video, they decide they're going to have a scrap. So yeah, so like obviously you gave me a fairly narrow window. That was, that's okay because I kind of listened to what you were saying and sort of sensed that you done a little bit. Tell me kind of like perhaps what like, or tell not me, but the people that are listening, kind of what your expectations, if you had any, of like what sort of preparation. Did you have any ideas? Had you spoken to anybody about what sort of things you may need to do?
No, so I was under the impression that I was going to ring you and you were going to send me to Helen back straight away, but
Mhm.
that certainly wasn't the case. It was a lot of mobility and stretching, which was really vital in the end. Like, obviously, had to get my body ready for what you were going to send my way, and I think people take that for granted a wee bit. Actually, um, sorry. So yeah, but what you did send me was fantastic. Um, I really enjoyed it and I loved it. I actually become quite addicted to those hard hard workouts. So yeah.
Yeah. So
So
again, like your microphone's gone a little bit quiet again, Luke. I don't know what happened there, but you kind of alluded to yeah, obviously the way in which we started, and then obviously it built through. Was anything else about that particular process that you found enlightening? Obviously, we discussed nutrition along the way, didn't we? Had conversations around hydration and looking after your immune system, etc. as well. Obviously, all the way through. Yeah, other things that you think you learned that you perhaps didn't expect to.
yeah, so I learned a lot about nutrition. I thought it was it was all just really. It all comes down to healthy eating, vegetables and lean meat. Yeah, see, I sort of did know, but yeah, sort of, yeah, I don't, yeah. Look, it was a bit of an eye opener anyway. So, yeah.
No, cool. With obviously your training, obviously you don't have to go into loads of detail, but yeah, how were the sessions, in terms of fitting them in with shearing and day-to-day life?
Yeah, so um, it took a wee bit of getting used to, but it became a habit, and I actually enjoyed it, and I was actually looking forward to getting into the gym after work because I was doing all my sessions after work. That what suited me best.
Yep.
Look, you'd have some tough days where you didn't want to do it, but
those are the days that you sort of what make you. So I remember one time I was shearing out the back of Kojonup. It was about 44 degrees. I was shearing away all day, and I got into the gym that night about 6 o'clock, and I opened up my app, and I think you set me about 6Ks worth of rowing and 120 burpees. I looked at it and just about walked out, but those are the days you just do it, and that's what pays off in the long run. So
Yeah, yeah. That would have been right in the middle of the bulk of it, wouldn't it? Cool. Okay, so let's bring it forward a little bit to the kind of record day itself, and we can either do this like run by run, or talk us through perhaps from the start of the day. Give a little insight. Just talk us through the whole day. Yeah.
Yeah. So first run. Yeah, it's probably a nervous start for me. Sort of feeling my way into it a little bit. The sheep were obviously a little bit tight. It was a really cold morning. Look, the whole day is a little bit of a blur, really. I struggle to remember much apart from just hammering away there. But first run come and went. I was a bit worried about what I saw first run. I obviously would have liked a few more, but it was what it was. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, mate, tell us how many you did shear and how many you were aiming for then.
Yeah, so I saw 120 the first run, which was fine. I was probably hoping for 125, but doesn't always happen that way. But yeah.
Yeah. And again, for those who don't know, because obviously we've got to assume that some people don't know what they're hearing. How long is each sheep taking you to shear, mate?
Yeah, so it was variation really. Some of them were taking me, from what I can gather through other people, some were taking around 40 seconds, and then I'd get some. I was taking about 58 seconds to a minute on some of the heavy cutting ones, but on average, I think it was about 57 seconds. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's catch and break.
Yep. Cool. Okay, so end of the first run, you go back in. You're obviously going to have some food. Maybe just share with people kind of like the sort of things you were eating, and what the thinking was behind you with the things you were doing during the break.
Yeah, so I was going straight into a cold shower just to sort of bring everything back down, and I was having mashed sweet potato most of the day. I was actually struggling to get much food in, to be honest with you. Bananas and fruit, but mostly sweet potato, a little bit of chicken. But I was getting on the massage table most runs, most breaks, and Justin Keeley was working on my lower body, my hips and my lower back. They were getting a little bit tight, but he kept me good. And went up into the shed for the second run, and the nerves were gone by that stage, but I knew I had a job on my hands after the tally I saw the first run. So the second run I can't recall a hell of a lot. I remember going into lunchtime, and Justin Keeley, he actually put me to sleep for 10 minutes through meditation. I actually fell asleep on the table for 10 minutes lunchtime, which really helped. It was that was a big big one for me, just to reset, and it gave me a hell of a lot of energy going into the third run.
Mm-hmm.
Third run I was feeling really good and felt like I started to shear properly, a bit of flow happening.
How many did we shear in that third run, Luke? Again, and the second as well, because obviously
the second run we shot 125, and the same again at the third run. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 120, 125, 125.
Yeah, so I had a bit of a job in my hands. I had to go up a few for the last run to break the record.
Yeah.
So I remember going into the shed at afternoon smoko, and I had to have a few words to myself, and Justin had a few words to me too. And I was always confident that I knew I had to pull out my best run, and thank God I did. Yeah.
So during that fourth run, was there was there anything that you sort of noticed that was different? I.e., I appreciate that you started to feel better about your shearing in run 3, but was there anything about run 4 that you kind of knew that you were, or did you not really know?
I didn't have a clue how many I saw in run 4. My second, Michael James, he kept me in the dark, or not in the dark, but he was just trying to keep me focused, and I had no idea how many I'd shorn. I had to ask everyone at the end of the day whether I broke the record or not. But yeah, I actually started feeling really good the last hour.
Yeah.
Like flow wise, and I think once you've done the first 3 runs and you got an hour to go, it takes a bit of weight off your shoulders, and that's how I felt anyway.
Yeah.
Like I could open up a little bit and just drive it home.
Yeah. Do you think, like, listening to what you're saying, it sounds like physically you were you were kind of like, kind of there and building your way through it. Mentally, perhaps listening to what you said about earlier about the nerves and a few of those things as well, like almost needed to let go a little bit earlier, if you could have. Fair, would you say?
Sorry, mate, you just broke up there a little bit.
Sorry, I just said, like, listening to what you're saying. So obviously, as you sort of recollected over the first run, and you mentioned about, how, potentially, like, your nerves, you were a bit nervous in that first run, and by the time you got to the third run, the nerves had kind of, second and third run had gone. Do you think you kind of relaxed into it a little bit as you went?
Yeah, definitely. I suppose being the first time up there was, it got real. Like I didn't realise how real it was until I was standing up there at 7:15 on Friday morning. It all sort of hit me straight away, but yeah, definitely started feeling better and more confident as the day went on. So
yeah,
I
good.
think that it was a big one for the way I started shearing.
Yeah. Do you? I was interesting because I spoke to a couple of people who were at the record, and just obviously whilst you were getting yourself together afterwards, I was just keen to find out how everything was going and how you were and stuff. And they said that you definitely looked like really prepared and really ready for it. Did you afterwards? Did you feel like, obviously when you do an event like that, it's always really tough, and you give everything you've got. On reflection, do you think you got your preparation just about right?
Yeah, preparation was fantastic. Couldn't have asked for anything more from you, Matt. In terms of fitness, look, in saying that though, after every run you are spent, but I was amazed how fast I recovered. So an hour after I finished the day, I had a shower, I had a protein shake, and I felt really good again. I felt energy levels come straight back up, and I actually stayed up till 2 that morning. So
Did you?
I was I was. Look, at the time I was buggered, but it didn't last for long anyway.
Yeah. Nah, nice. So you had a few celebrations afterwards, yeah? A few beers.
Yeah. We had a function at the Exchange Hotel in Pingelly. It was a good night. Everyone was great. obviously winding down from the day. It was a pretty hectic day, really, especially for the team because they were under so much pressure all day. I was never in front. So they definitely deserved a few drinks, the team. They did a fantastic job. Yeah, I was thinking about that today while I was shearing. I was thinking about them and how they would have been feeling throughout the day because of things the way it played out. And the pressure valve never released because obviously the first goal was to break the record, but then we had a meeting. We had two goals, obviously. The first one to break the record, and then second goal to shear 500. So once I broke the record, there was still pressure on for me to shear 500. So it was a high pressure day for everyone involved. So
I think that's it as well. Like yeah, I think that's like you're on the stand, but the people behind have, you know, the pressure that they're under. I mean, I know, like, you know, just from personal experience and being involved in, you know, in quite a few records, like every single record, no matter whether I'm there in person or not, you know, I don't sleep very well those nights. Like I'll, you know, because the internal pressure, you like, you know, even if you've done it, you know, a load of times, you still feel like you kind of want to, you want to make sure everything's done exactly as it needs to be done, and you want like that person, you know, right from the person handling the sheep at the back to, you know, the person handing you the drinks, you know, your second there, you know, the guy doing the gear, the people doing, you know, the kind of live streams, you know, everybody's under their own pressure. And obviously you're under your own, a lot of your own pressure. Yeah. So, you know, I think, pressure is definitely a real thing, and it spreads throughout the team, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah. Definitely, Matt. And that's just a credit to my team. The team of men and women that I had were just fantastic, and I was so confident in them, and that's a really vital part of a record is having people that you trust and you know are going to be there for you all day. When you go in for a smoko and lunch, you're not worried about anything else but yourself. And I had that through MJ and Pope and Rob and all the boys out the back. It was just fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing because I think like when you achieve such a big thing, you know, anyone who achieves a big thing knows, don't they? They know who was kind of like part of the team that did that. And I think like, you know, when someone breaks a world record, we all know that like that one person breaking it clearly has to have the skill to do it. But if they didn't have the people behind them and the people around them to do it, no matter what you do, you know, that can be, you can put that into sheep shearing world records. You can put that across any team event, can't you? I think just under having the ability to trust and to lean on that support because you know you can, is a really empowering thing. I think that, you know, again, go back to your own preparation, your own physical preparation. When you know you've done the work, you can lean on that a little bit, you know, and you know you've done it. I think like I've heard it quoted before. You know, you don't rise to the occasion. You know you fall back to your level of preparation. And I think like when you know you've prepared mentally, physically, you've done everything you can. You tick those boxes off. I think, you know, then you know that all the people around you are doing the best they can. You know, that's all you can ask for, isn't it? And sometimes it comes off, you know, and other times it doesn't. You know, it's nothing's guaranteed, is it? You're dealing with a live animal that's going to do what it wants to do. You know, you're dealing with a live animal that, you know, if the condition of that animal isn't great, then you know that all these things don't. It's not an exact science, is it? You just got to control what you can.
Yeah, that's dead right. Yeah, you can plan all you want, and that's good, but there's a few uncontrollables that you've got to be prepared for, and it ain't always going to be smooth sailing. So you've just got to do your homework and rock up and adjust to what needs to be adjusted to.
Yeah, exactly. So moving forwards then, mate, what are your, I appreciate you've got other things you want to do tonight apart from talk to me. yeah, what are your thoughts moving forward, plans? I know obviously you and I are going to carry on working together, but yeah, have you got anything sort of lined up, or are you just enjoying this moment?
Yeah, so obviously I'm going to carry on with you, Matt. I've really noticed the benefits in my shearing, just being on a good diet and a good fitness regime. So we're carrying on in the gym and shearing away for the next month in Australia. And then me and my partner and my daughter are actually going to New Zealand for 6 weeks to a couple of months, do a bit of shearing back home and see family members and yeah, be a good time away and sort of a working holiday, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay, and then back to Australia after that couple of months.
Yeah, we'll come back to Australia, start the season back here, and it'll go right through to obviously April, May again the following year. So
Cool, interesting. Yeah. So on average, then again, for people who don't know loads about shearing, how many days a week are you shearing?
so it varies. Look, probably averaging 6 days a week, I'd say, through the
Yeah.
year.
And how many hours a day would you normally shear sheep for?
You shear 8 hour days. Yeah. 8 hour days. Yeah.
Cool. Hey, we just had a question come in from someone. So he's Jaden. It is. What, if anything, was adjusted after the first run to go from 120 or 120 to 125? Was it pattern? Was it gear? Was it mindset?
Well, yeah. So the first run, it was really cold and the sheep warmed up a wee bit because they were quite tight in the morning. I probably shot better the second run. There's not as many nerves, and I sort of we sort of worked out what I had to do, and because the first run was a bit of a learning curve, really, and nothing really got adjusted. We sort of used the same gear, and probably mindset got adjusted a little bit too, and started building on the day.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, from what you're saying there, then a little bit of everything, as you sort of progress through the day. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to, mate? Because I appreciate I've sort of thrown a load of questions at you there.
Just looking at my notes. Look, not off the top of my head, Matt.
Yeah.
I think we covered most of it.
Yeah, I think like you say, we've kind of covered a little bit of your background in terms of how you got into shearing. We've gone back to a year ago, and how this kind of whole thing almost probably started in terms of it's becoming really real. And then obviously November, the discussion that we had, we then obviously then discussed some of the preparation you've done, and then we've discussed sort of the whole day itself, and and then obviously what your plans are moving forwards, which I think gives people a nice insight into kind of. Yeah, and then obviously, first man first person to shear 500 Merinos, which obviously is in the record books now, and I'm sure we all learn, don't we? Every time we do something like this, we all learn, and I'm sure if you had an opportunity to do something like it again, I'm sure there's always small tweaks you'd make, and it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's a massive learning curve, and it was great fun. I really enjoyed the journey, and the people I had around me. It was fantastic. So
a really wholesome experience, isn't it? We've already sort of chatted about it a little bit, haven't we? But you can't help but kind of sense that from you. Like it's not just about the day, is it? It's not like the day is a small part of the whole thing, but what you learn, the people you meet, the kind of the breadth of the people, like the people's kind of knowledge, like the farmer, the guys doing your gear, all those people, like you get to understand a lot more about people's skill sets too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's a team effort. None of it gets done by yourself, and I suppose at the end of the day, I get the certificate to say that I did it, but all these other people in the background, they were the drivers of it. So
Yeah. But
yeah,
they're they'll feel equally privileged as well to be part of a day like that, mate. With someone like yourself. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, Jaden's just popped another question in, Luke, before we break off. He's asked, what are the things that you've taken from your record preparation that you think will stay with you now? I think we've almost alluded to that, but we can answer it in that directly from that question.
yeah. So the day-to-day stretching, keeping your body flexible, and just staying on a clean diet is vital to the way you feel and the way you perform. So
Yeah, cool. Yeah, lovely. Right, mate. Look, I'm going to let you break off and go do what you got to do for the rest of the evening. Yeah, but I just want to say thank you very much for your time, and obviously I hope you've hope you've really enjoyed the journey so far. And obviously you and I are going to carry on working together, which is brilliant, and obviously that's going to be great from my perspective to keep working with someone like yourself. And yeah, I think other than that, mate, I think we'll break it off. But thank you.
no worries. Cheers, Matt. Thanks for your time.
Awesome.